Hello NFL fans, welcome back to Touchdown Kingdom, your hub for the freshest NFL updates and insights. If you love what we're doing here, show us some support by hitting the like button, dropping your predictions in the comments, and subscribing to the channel. We're committed to bringing you engaging content like this on a regular basis. Today we'll be going over some teams that are on fraud alert. At this point, there are no teams that look like true top tier, flawless contenders besides Kansas City. Even the ones that did look like top tier contenders in the Eagles and 49ers have had some unexpected losses over the last few weeks. So going down the list, we will discuss some teams that are on fraud alert and some that are not. First up, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles started out 5-0, and while they won every game, people were wondering when the streak would end because they did not look nearly as dominant as they were supposed to, and teams that were projected to be bad, such as the Commanders and Patriots, had them right to the end. This expected loss came in Week 6 to the New York Jets. The Eagles' offense completely flattened in the second half and allowed the Jets' defense to force 4 turnovers, including 3 interceptions from Jalen Hurts. This loss concerned many people because the Eagles weren't able to put up more than 14 points, even with 2 of the Jets' most important defenders in Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed out with concussions. However, the Eagles followed that up with a great Sunday night performance against the Miami Dolphins, who many consider a Super Bowl contender. If this video were made last week, it may be a different answer, but after beating the Dolphins, the Eagles are not on fraud watch going into Week 8. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions, and the Lions are a new member to the national spotlight after an embarrassing 38-6 loss against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are an absolutely great team and should be a contender. However, as a 5-1 team that beat the Chiefs and have looked great since, with their only loss being against Seattle, that type of loss is unacceptable. There haven't been many other games this season where one team has just looked so helpless on offense and defense. They scored their first touchdown in the fourth quarter and trailed 28-0 at the half. Jared Goff has looked great all season playing mediocre defenses, but in this game, their entire team was exposed. While we still believe that the Lions can keep winning and turn it around, a loss of that caliber puts them on fraud alert. For our third team, we have the Buffalo Bills, who once again, for what seems like the 5th year in a row, are on fraud alert. They came into this year after 2 back-to-back disappointing runs in the playoffs, despite being one of the favorites for the Super Bowl, and still were in the top 5 teams when it came to Super Bowl odds this year. In some games, like the Dolphins, Commanders, and Raiders games, they looked absolutely dominant. However, in other games like the Jets, Jaguars, Giants, and Patriots games, they looked mediocre. After coming off a loss to Jacksonville and a game where the Bills could have lost on the very last play, where they benefit from a missed pass interference, you would expect them to go out and blow out the Patriots, who look like one of the worst teams in the league. But instead, they lose. This nailed their spot into the fraud alert. The Dolphins are a fun team. They're fast, explosive, and have a quirky head coach that seems to dial it up on offense every single week. However, in their 2 games against the Bills and the Eagles, they folded, losing by 28 and 14 points respectively. In the rest of their games, they've looked like a Super Bowl contender, but they will have to prove it by beating a top-tier team, and they'll have the chance to in Week 9 against the Chiefs. For now, it is too early to put them on fraud alert, but if the Chiefs game is ugly, they certainly will be. For our last team today, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and the 49ers looked like one of the best teams in NFL history until the past 2 weeks where they've lost to the Browns and the Vikings. There was talk of a Brock Purdy MVP season until the last 2 weeks where he showed many of his flaws and only put up 17 points in each matchup. Another aspect of their team that's been faltering the last 2 weeks has been their defensive line, which has played below their ridiculous standards, and we don't see that happening for much longer. They have some absolute monsters on both sides of the ball, and considering how dominant they were in the first few weeks, they will have to prove it once again in their next few matchups. Until we see more, the 49ers are not on fraud alert. Well, that's it for today's video. Let us know in the comments down below what you agree with, disagree with, and any other teams you have fraud allegations about. Stay tuned for more exciting content coming your way. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you for being a part of our Touchdown Kingdom family, and we'll see you in the next one.